Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. It has been probably well over a year since we have done a video, and we wanted to come back and explain sort of what has been going on with our family. So we would like if you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get all our updates and follow along on our journey.
I'm trying to be serious. Okay, so here's the thing. About the beginning of March, end of February, beginning of March, I was struggling with some pain. My wife and I thought maybe I strained a muscle. I was doing some heavier lifting, kind of got into powerlifting and different things like that. And so I was kind of pushing my body, and so I just assumed maybe I pulled a muscle in my lower abdomen, and that was a problem. And the issue was that the pain was actually getting worse. The only time it would go away was when I went to the gym, and it was probably just because of my body getting elevated, adrenaline, you know, those kind of things like that. Well, anyway, so it was about 2 weeks, and the pain wasn't going away. And my wife, I woke up the one morning, and my wife said, "Okay, you know, we need to go to the hospital. Something's wrong." And so we ended up going to urgent care. She had stayed up all night because I was rolling and moaning and groaning and all kinds of things like that. But she stayed up Googling everything and looking it up and trying to figure out what you weren't Googling.
No, I was going, Google.
Yeah, so.
Rabbit trails.
Yeah, and so Googling everything and looking it up. And so we went into urgent care, and at urgent care, the PA, she looked us over, and her first thought was appendicitis. And because of the area of the pain, some of the tests she performed, she was like hitting the bottom of my foot and the way it reacted. And so she ordered a CT scan because if it was appendicitis, we're gonna have to have surgery. Well, problem was she came back into the room after the results of the CT scan, and she had a very distraught look on her face, and she started asking us questions about cancer. And reason being is there was a thickening in my colon wall on the CT scan, and there was spots on my liver. And so from there, don't have much history on the men's side of my family when it comes to cancer. But from there, what happened is she had us meet with Dr. White, who does colonoscopies, and he got us set up right away. When he looked at the scans, he wanted us in pretty much ASAP. And so we ended up having a colonoscopy scheduled for the following Thursday. Now, the problem with that, actually, I'm sorry, Friday. It was on Friday.
Well, I was going to ask, I don't remember what day we went in on.
Yeah, but so
it was quick, though.
Yeah, and the problem with that is colonoscopy is going to be happening that Friday, and that Tuesday we're actually leaving for Disney. And so we went in, had the colonoscopy, and it was kind of a rushed process, and I don't remember much, but I remember waking up and hearing the words cancer advanced. And we was diagnosed that day with stage 4 colon rectal cancer. And we kind of didn't take the news well.
No.
Cried a ton. We locked ourselves, my wife and I, we locked ourselves into my little office in the house, and just kind of didn't want to tell the kids because we're going to Disney. And so
that was one of our first questions.
Dr. White, he called Oncology and said, "Hey, this is kind of where it's at. This is the size of the tumor, best we can gauge it." They still had to wait for the official pathology results, but based off everything that they could see, they were pretty positive what it was. And so the oncologist, and Dr. White both agreed that I should go on my vacation with my family. And so, we did. It was a hard vacation because my colon was almost completely obstructed. So, they had me on a whole regimen of laxatives. From, what do you call it, Dolox or whatever, Miralax.
Everything.
Gas pills, all kinds of different things. And so.
But no pain meds.
No pain meds, because pain meds can create constipation.
Yeah.
And so the problem being, since I'm almost completely obstructed, they don't want me taking any pain meds. And so we go to Disney, and while at Disney, I have to, we're walking about 10 miles a day.
In the
while
heat.
taking this intense regimen of laxatives. So every little area I had to go to, I had to, mark a bathroom. Oh, there's a bathroom, rest
And
area.
avoiding sugar.
And avoiding sugar, yeah. So, because they told me to stop sugars instantly, but we're going to Disney. And so they were not too concerned about us going to Disney. I was concerned because I thought, well, do we got to get started right away? And they said, well, when you get back, we'll get started, but go enjoy time with your family. And so it was hard because, I'm there trying to be in a good mood, but I'm also in so much pain.
And keep it a secret from the kids. Not a secret.
Well, we didn't want to ruin their trip. And so throughout that process, I'm getting calls from oncology, setting up appointments, going over different things. And it was pretty stressful, but we also had a wonderful, blessed time with the family. My in-laws, her parents, they met us there, and then her brother and sister-in-law met us there, and niece and nephew. And so it was a wonderful time with family at Disney. It was a great time, enjoyable time, a lot of fun. But I had a lot of pain.
And our two older girls definitely were catching on something was wrong with Dad.
Because Dad is usually pretty active and healthy, but I'm always sitting, I always got to relax, I always got to go to the bathroom, so they caught on pretty quick. And then when you're sitting in line for 45 minutes, or standing in line for 45 minutes, and the hospital's calling, oncology's calling, I'm trying to keep things, I'm trying to quiet, but they were catching on pretty quick. Yeah. And so from there, we get back from Disney, and that was on a Wednesday. We got back, I think that was March 31st. We got back from Disney.
Yeah, it was the end of March sometime.
Yeah, so got back end of March. Got back at 1:30 in the morning. And then that next day had an appointment, a follow-up appointment with our doctor, the doctor that performed the colonoscopy. And he kind of went over everything, said, okay, this is what's up, it is cancer. It is pretty far along, and so, we're going to have to move quickly. And then he asked me when my appointment with oncology was, and my first appointment with oncology, just the follow-up appointment with or not follow-up, but the starting appointment.
Consultation,
yeah, whatever
of,
it is.
Beginning
with oncology wasn't going to start until April 12th.
Yeah.
And so, the Dr. White, the colonoscopy doctor, he said he was pretty uncomfortable with that. And so he left the room, and he asked, he goes, can I make a phone call on your behalf? And we said, sure. And he left the room, and you could hear him on the phone with oncology talking to them. And after about 10-15 minutes later, he came back in. He says, okay, I have an appointment with you tomorrow with oncology. And so can you make it? And so we went up to oncology and started the process. And so mind you, we got back from Disney at 1:30 in the morning. Next, I think 3 o'clock the following day, we had an appointment with
Was it even that
Dr.
late?
White.
I thought it was like really early. It felt early.
Next day we had that appointment,
Yeah.
and then the following Thursday we had a meeting with oncology.
Yeah.
And so when we get to oncology that Thursday, the Dr. Wells, which is a great doctor, but she kind of came in and gave us the gut punch, and she goes, you got, with this cancer, you got 2 to 5 years, and it's incurable. And so that was hard.
That was the second scariest news of my life.
Yeah, and at that point we felt like everything was over, it's done, the people that are supposed to give you some good answers, or the reality answer, I guess you could say, give you the reality that, hey, it's all over. And so we thought.
Sorry.
It was a very hard meeting. And so
that.
there's Dr. Wells, and and like I said, we understand her position. She wasn't being rude, just it's a hard position to be in. And so then after that, we met with she goes by MJ. She's Dr. Fahed's nurse, and Dr. Fahed is my actual oncologist, where Dr. Wells is just the radiation doctor. And so we met with her. We had some questions, and we're still very emotionally heightened. Very like, just kind of, I'm trying to stay positive for my wife. I'm trying to stay very encouraging, but here, her husband was just told he's going to die. And it's incurable. And so we met with the nurse, and then after the nurse left, Dr. Fahed, who is my oncologist, came in and went through some different things, talked about some different things, ran down the whole list of, okay, tomorrow we're going to do a PET scan and blah, 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 gauge things from there. and he goes through, you know, the typical treatment for chemotherapy. And then I remember very clearly this part, you know, and what happened at that point was he wrote down, so he goes through the typical process, and then he says, then we have this most aggressive. He goes, this is a typical treatment, then we have this more aggressive option. And I remember I looked right at him. I says, doctor, I want the most aggressive option. I want to live. I got a lot to live for. I have daughters. I have kids. I want to live. I said, I will take aggressive. And he kind of got this like weird smirk.
Like, ooh.
Yeah. And
he had a mask on, so you couldn't see his mouth, but his eyes were like,
yeah. So he kind of got this weird smirk. And then I remember he wrote the word confident on his notepad. And then he stood up and he took his pen and he pointed at the word confident. He says, you know, and he goes, Jeremy, I'm confident I can get you to remission. Mm-hmm. And so now we go from, you know, now we're at the low part of the roller coaster, no hope. Now we're up here. We're like, oh, wow, okay.
There could be hope.
And then the whole process, my wife, she's texting family what Dr. Wells said. And, you know, and I remember the one thing she said to me after was, you know, she texted my mom, and my mom responded with, well, 20 years ago they gave me 3 to 5 years. My mom has been through cancer bouts, and she survived them. She's been through some harsh treatments, and she is 10 years cancer free. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I have those. Yes, I have cancer genetics, but I also have survivor genetics, and so this is all the day after we got back from Disney. You know, so because we got back 1:30 in the morning Wednesday, and this is Thursday, and so you want to talk about a roller coaster. It was just a massive roller coaster. And so Dr. Fahad left, and he, you know, said a couple more things, but he left. And then what happened is his nurse came in, and so he said, wow, what a difference in meetings. And I remember she said, she goes, well, here's the thing. She goes, Dr. Fahad gauges people's attitude, and she goes, you got a good attitude. And then she said, a couple of things that you got going for you. One, your age. She goes, 2, you're healthy. And I said, I remember I joked, I said, well, I do have cancer. And then she said, so you're young, you're healthy. And she goes, and the third thing is you're strong. And she goes, those things are going to be vital for you in this upcoming fight. And, you know, and she said also, you know, your attitude is just great. And that's what Dr. Fahad really likes to look at, is attitude. And so we had another meeting, set up an appointment for the PET scan that following day. But I remember we left Oncology, and it was just, we were emotionally drained.
Yeah.
Emotionally just tapped right out.
Jet lagged.
Just
emotionally drained.
Just everything going on. And so following day had the PET scan. And PET scan, they take that radioisotope and they inject it into you, and then you got to sit there and wait for an hour, and then have the scan. And so then what happened is
well, we were waiting to hear if it had moved to your lungs.
Yeah, and
that was another scary.
Yeah, so they didn't know how far it advanced. We know that it was in the liver, and we knew that it had metastasized from the colon to the liver. And then from that point, we sat down. So then we had the PET scan. Didn't get the results of the PET scan, but they started moving on me right away. And so they wanted me in Monday morning to have my port installed. And then what they did is they scheduled 2 weeks of radiation. So that following Monday, I had my port installed, and then port's right here, and it's just a little. Can't really see it, but it's just a way for them to draw blood, and also they use that as an IV hookup to put the the chemo into you. And so, but before I started chemo, they wanted me to do radiation. So I did 2 weeks of radiation, so Monday through Friday, and then Monday through Friday, and then that following Monday we started IV chemo. Now what happened during radiation is my wife asked me, because families wanting to come and support us. And I said, well, I want my sister, because she knows the medical lingo, and so she could explain everything to us and break it down real easy. And so Laura got a hold of her, and she came out. She was out, almost right away.
Yeah. Such a huge blessing.
Yes, and Misty, if you're watching, I love you. I appreciate you, and
We can't
you're
even express.
you're an amazing human being, and I love, we love you so much.
I don't think we could have made it through those first 2 weeks without her.
No, because
She took care of the kids, the
Yeah.
house, us.
yeah,
Explained all the lingo to
Yeah.
us. Just
well, and that's the big thing, when the doctor's dropping big words on us. I'm a simple guy. I don't know what's up, but she knows. She works.
she took notes.
She
for
works
us.
in the hospital, and she knew what to ask, what words meant what, and yada yada yada. Well, anyway, and so from there though, knocked out my 2 weeks of radiation. I'm trying to stay as positive as possible. A couple things I decided early on. I think we took we had our one bad day where we just sat in our room and cried our eyes out.
One.
Well, I had one bad day.
He had one bad day. I've
day.
had like 2 bad weeks.
And I prayed. My profession, I'm a pastor, also a chaplain, and so I'm an associate pastor for Douglas Baptist Church. And I had just started teaching a Sunday school series on struggles and how to handle struggles. And so I woke up the following morning and I said, well, I have to practice what I preach, and how to handle struggles. But it was very weird. So that Saturday before I had my port installed, I just had a calm. You hear people talk about peace that passes understanding, and to live through something like this and then to experience that peace is a whole different ball field. Because I woke up that following morning and I just had this peace that this isn't it. I'm going to be okay. And I put a smile on my face and just tried my best to be positive. Can't say that's as easy for my wife as it was for me. Her husband, she's looking at potentially going, through life without him. So I understand that, but I also just had the mentality that this isn't it. I'm going to do everything that I got to do to survive. I'm going to do everything that I got to do to fight this. When they say no sugars, I cut sugars out. When they say drink water, I drink water. When they say eat only soups, I eat only soups. If they say eat more carbs, I eat more carbs. I mean,
You've
whatever.
been a very obedient patient.
Yeah, I mean, they're the professionals. They're, and Rocky Mountain Oncology is where we go, and just all the people I've talked to that have been through them or with them, it's just been nothing but just wonderful things. And so I'm just doing everything that I possibly can. So it's weird for me because I do have such a good attitude. I don't think this is it. I don't think this is the end. I made a decision to minimize all the negative things and to maximize all the positive things. People, they come to me and like, hey, you should read this, you should read that. To be honest, I've been avoiding reading. Some books I've read, but I've been avoiding a lot of reading because I'm not struggling. I've been avoiding, talking to certain people because I'm not struggling. People are like, oh, you should talk to so-and-so. They had a really bad bout with cancer and their struggle was really bad, but I'm not struggling. Things are going well. Treatment, I shouldn't say eerily, but treatment is actually, doing well on me. Everyone tells me that I should be getting more tired and I should be getting this. Neuropathy, they're really shocked. The doctors are really shocked that I'm not suffering from neuropathy. Neuropathy is cold sensitivity. And so I'm not getting that terrible side effect from that. Staying active. Dr. Fed was very clear. No more powerlifting, no more heavy lifting. Yeah, which is hard for a guy.
That hit him hard.
It is. It's hard for a guy because we struggle with man pride. When we go to the gym and somebody picks up a weight 5 pounds heavier than us, we got to grab 5 pounds heavier than them. It's just the way it is. But he said to stay active.
Exactly.
And what he said was, he goes, I want you to tone. So
don't bulk,
but to tone. And so one of the things I did is I got a personal trainer.
Shout out to Jill.
Shout out to Jill Hughes. Jill
You're the best.
Is amazing. And she, it's kind of funny because she's really taking good care of me. She's worked with cancer patients before.
She's Jeremy's gym babysitter.
Yeah,
so he
she
doesn't
caught
hurt
me
himself.
lifting wrong once without her, and I did get lectured because I had a little bit of pride still kicking in me, and I tried to pick up some heavier weights, you know, but my body's in a weakened state, and blah blah blah. Well, anyway, she lectured me politely because I don't know if she knows how to be mean, but it's
You've
funny.
never been in one of her spin classes.
Well, it's funny
Just
because
kidding.
I'll be doing some of these. We're really working on like core and things like that, but we'll be doing an exercise. She's like, okay, your face is turning purple, let's take a lap. So but she's just been an amazing person to help me to stay active.
My favorite is, okay, just 5 more, Jeremy, unless you don't want to, if you can.
Yeah.
But we should, but maybe
Yeah.
if you don't want to.
Yeah.
She's good to you.
We did. Once we had ideas and once we had met with our doctor,
I'm
and
gonna
once
let the
we
dog
knew
in.
things.
Continue.
You're letting the dog in. Poor dog. You heard noise in the background, that's Reagan. She's a naughty dog right now. She's our Belgian Malinois.
She's crazy.
She's crazy. But we did sit down with the kids. Once we knew what was going on, once we had answers, once we had some sort of hope we could share, we sat, dog just
Went outside.
We sat down with the kids, and that was terrible. It was stressful.
The third worst day of our lives.
Yeah. There was tons of tears, tons of crying, tons of scaredness, but we were able to share what Dr. Fahed said. He was confident he could get us to remission. And they didn't quite understand us. We had to explain that.
The dog. So
Sit.
the dog's being crazy now.
She's acting out. She misses me.
We shared all that with the kids, and but you just had your 3rd treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to share more of that in another video,
Because
so
it's
that
going
this
really well.
doesn't go on too long.
It's
So
going really well.
it is going very well, and we want to update everyone on that. So continue to be watching for the videos. We will try to put at least 1 out a week, maybe 2. But we just want to share our journey through Jeremy's cancer, update people on here. Also just some things, because we want to definitely start doing things with the kids to make memories, and it's really put a lot of stuff into perspective for us. And so we're just going to share all of that, the good, the bad, the ugly, mostly good.
There's been
a lot of good.
a lot of blessings.
Look for that next video, and we will see you guys later. Bye.